But I mean, just in terms of the evaluation itself, I mean, for example, I mean, are there any ways in which some of the evaluation findings would be publishable or published in new ways? So, for example, the whole issue of how the chairs differently measured learner performance or thought about learner performance and then incorporated into their work. I mean, that would be a fascinating thing for people working in the field to know about. So is there any way in which some of those issues which really do have, could have a wider impact on the area could be somehow made available, whether it's through an academic publication?
The few evaluations that are done hardly ever get to see the light of day. So what happens is every year we spend another few billions doing the same old thing and we don't learn anything. So these evaluations are terribly important, but they will only reach the 99% of their importance is if they're made public. And I know this is sensitive, and donors are very sensitive about it because there are always some bad news stories in these evaluations that they want to hide. But guys, if we don't hear the bad news stories, if we don't learn what's not working, we're just going to carry on wasting our money year after year. So I want to put it really strongly that this stuff should be made public, it should be debated openly, and we should have a real good look at this, not just the outcomes, but the evaluation methodologies too.
It's just that BRIDGE has been contracted by the NECT to do a project, and it is a little project, I must stress this, but it has involved looking at lessons learned from maths and science projects. So for that we had to go through quite a tricky process, I must say, of getting access to a lot of the evaluations. We also had an interview process with some of the maths chairs and with people like Nick and with other experts in the field and with evaluation people, and this is one of the key themes that has come up. Please, why are we not sharing this information? So I mean, this was something that nearly everybody we interviewed said, it needs to be done, we need to understand what impact is, there needs to be a sort of a repository, there needs to be various guidelines, tools, all this needs to be accessible and open and discussed, and so on. So now, what BRIDGE is going to produce is like, we're not evaluation experts, and we're not doing a meta review or anything like that, but the NECT has asked us to say, what are the lessons we need to learn? And that is one of the lessons that we are saying we need to learn, is that this kind of information needs to be shared and needs to be accessible and so on.
With regards to evaluations, I know you're going to think I'm talking because I'm coming from the funders side. I think, I mean, from the NRF, I can defend the NRF and the DST on this one, because we run these programs, and every 5 years we have these reviews, these huge reviews and impact assessments. And I remember quite recently, about 2 years ago, there was a very big review on the peer review process, for example, and that was shared widely, and there's documents available on that. So on that, I think we also run impact reviews of individual programs, like a scholarship fund. At the end of the 5 years, there's an impact assessment of what this is. And then we look and shape it. I think that's one of the reasons why there are some successes with the DST programs, is because we change approaches based on the impact reports that come out of 5-year reviews. I mean, I know it's not happening throughout the system, and we could do better as a system in terms of coordinating all of these activities. But when we come to M&E, I think the people who are M&E specialists should be doing what you're doing now, to look at these different approaches and look at what is shared. For example, that report on the peer review process, yes, it's research, but it's the peer review. It's got a lot of criticism about the peer review, the NRF's peer review process, looking at international and benchmarking what we do. So it's got a lot of information that we used going forward to change the current processes. So it depends on what the focus is and who are the people to share it with.
Was it always happening?
As we know, certain ones of
Yes, particular certain ones.
sat on, were never made available.
And I think that the landscape is also changing within the private donor funding. So it's not like we are perfect. We are beginning to realize the importance of knowledge sharing, where Some of the private donors, of course, we still hide behind the copyright laws. We will never give you for we have paid it. So please pay us. We'll give you the evaluation. Because actually we pay the evaluators, don't we? But it's changing with those that actually see the value of why it's important to share lessons.